Good morning, everybody. It's your boy Nerdicane here again. I'm doing the third part, and I think this is going to be the final part of my 90s X-Men and 2017 X-Men comparison. I'm getting no views. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the comparison of the two eras and the two types of story. But I'm not getting views, and I'm not getting any shekels, as Diversity in Comics says. So, if I do another comparison, I may pull a comparison of like 1990s Captain Marvel and Captain Marvel of today. I think that would be a really neat comparison. This is, right here, this the 1990s version. This is the final, the first three issues were like a three-part running story. They were all together, whereas the 2017 X-Men was just standalone story, standalone story, standalone story. These characters, these new X-Men, well, they're the old X-Men, time displaced, they're starting to fill out a little bit of their backstory, a little bit about who they are, about how different they are. I want to go to the first page. I want to give credit where credit's due. Cullen Bunn, I think he's doing a good job. I've read further into this, and I'll catch up on my reviews in video form soon. But it's turning into a pretty interesting series. I mean, it's not going to rewrite the X-Men. It's not going to be one of those classic runs. It might be, but for right now, it's a solid run. So let's go to the difference in the opening pages. This one goes right to action. When we left off, the X-Men were going to Barcelona. This one left with the main X-Men team being sort of mind controlled, and they're up on asteroid M, and sort of the B-list X-Men are having to go up there and fight him and rescue Professor Xavier. Look at this. This is the first point. This is the first page. This could almost be a movie poster, like the way you have the faded X-Men here on and the Invisible Blackbird. This is almost like a movie poster. If this was the movie poster for the first movie, I'd be like, okay, I'm in. This is neat. This is cool. But, just the difference in the first page of this. Now, granted, this was more of a sweeping story. This was a lot more epic than this issue was like Much Ado About Nothing. And I'll kind of go into that a little later. But I'm not gonna go page for page. This video, I'm gonna go a little more into the comparison. A lot of exposition in this issue, just talk. Whereas I've gone through the first two issues, it's just action, all the time. Magneto's still pissed off because all she did was genetically alter him. I don't know why he's so mad. God, get over it, Mags. One of the things that I wanted to kind of point out between the two eras of Marvel, this one always had sort of a flirty little undertone between certain characters, between Jean and Scott, especially between Gambit and Rogue. It always had that, whereas the new era of Marvel, you don't really see a whole lot of flirtation amongst the straight characters. You see a lot in the gay characters, especially they're not overplaying it in this series. I'll give him credit for that. But Iceman, he's got having like boy troubles, and you see hints of that. And generally, this Iceman in this series is sort of aloof from the team. It's, if I were a team member on this, I would just basically ask Iceman, it's like, are you in or are you out? Because we're going into situations and you don't know anything about it, and it's situations where we could get killed. It's neat. Yeah, I mean, they're running along, Bobby being the youngest of the group. So yeah, he's a bit immature. They show up to a mutant incident in Barcelona. It's this new character, Belen. She caused it. Sentinels show up. That usually means a fight. But interestingly enough, these Sentinels are calling them fellow mutants, and they're here to kind of protect them and subdue them and take them somewhere. Blackbird follows them, which is interesting AI behavior. And even later in this, Beast is like, we really should ask Magneto where he got this plane. And he's right. And the plane's doing a lot of strange stuff. A lot of stuff it shouldn't be doing. So right here, a little bit of flirting. More talk. Wolverine discovers that the X-Men are coming. The B and C list X-Men are coming, so he sets up a little surprise. So they show up. It's funny how they just show up exactly to the room where Charles is being kept. And once again, flirtiness. This is the battle kiss. I dubbed the battle kiss last video, where you kiss somebody during the fight and then you blast them across the room. Something you don't see nowadays. I guess our hypersensitivity nowadays would call it rape. Back then, we did this. They printed this and they put it out, and we didn't think anything of it. It was just sort of flirty, sexy. I don't want to say fun, because you're getting blasted across the room. But yeah, it was just there, and we didn't really take any notice of it. Once again, they're fighting, and you get a lot of exposition. This is the payoff issue, and they're really doing a lot of talking, and they're wrapping this story up, where to see what Charles has done, what Moira has done, and Magneto's pretty pissed off about it. So, and once again, S.H.I.E.L.D. gets a little antsy, so they just fire the laser. And look at this. I mean, look how much talk there is. And this really doesn't resolve. They just kind of stalemate each other and then get away from each other. And so the Sentinels, here we go to the flash to the forward. One of the main things I'm seeing is between these two eras is they aren't as willing to go more than one issue with a battle, with a story arc. It's almost like episodes of a sitcom, where you start in one place, the situation takes the characters to another place, and then at the end, they wind up back at the same place. I'm not sure if I like it very much. I prefer this more. It's a little longer. But maybe this is a little indicative of shortened attention spans in the last 20 years. We're so fast and our attention spans are so short nowadays that maybe this is a sign of that. So let's get back to the story before I go on a cultural tangent. And the Sentinels bring them to Bastion, which he was a baddie, but he wasn't like a big baddie back in the 90s. Talking about his past and what he's been through, and he's being kind of cordial and friendly, and he's talking now is like, oh, I want to save you guys for the future. And then he does the heel turn. So this reminds me of Triumph, the insult comic dog. Bastion's like, I want to save you. I want you guys to thrive. And then here he's like, for me to poop on! And this issue really goes nowhere. You wind up right back where you were before. Bastion's a bad guy. It sort of started to hint that, okay, maybe he's a good guy. And then he winds up, oh, he's a bad guy. This character is kind of weird. She just discovered that she's a mutant. And she just met this weird glowing face cyborg human from the future. And she's instantly like, okay, cool, I'll hang out with you. I'll help you in what you're doing. Then he does the for me to poop on, and she's suddenly coming to her senses. Big fight, lost a blasting, much ado about nothing, because he's like, okay, I'm just going to go back to the future. Like this issue is just much ado about nothing. There's a little bit of conversation. She decides to go to the school. They say about the character design, a lot of people have called it ugly. They say that Jean Grey's no longer cute. She's no longer a bombshell. She's drawn pretty cute there. I'll say this about the artist. he's really good at expressions. He's a lot better at expressions than a lot of the current Marvel artists. A lot of the current Marvel artists don't really understand expression, so they're not drawing it very well. So cut to the end, and you get Jean kind of reflecting on, okay, maybe since I'm working for Magneto, I'm a bad guy now, and Scott's kind of reassuring her, no, we still have a moral base to go on. And they, to be continued. It ends, they end up the same place they were when this started. Only they've added a mutant to the school. I'm sort of done with the comparison. I may do other books later on. But some of the things I've noticed is they weren't afraid to do a multi-issue story arc in the 90s. They seem to be a little afraid to do it nowadays. They want a beginning, a middle, and an end, and they want it to be sort of like a sitcom where you wind up back at the same spot. Like I said, the jury's still out on it. I don't think I like it, but I'm gonna see where it goes. The other thing is the flirtiness. There was just a lot more flirtiness back then. I will say, for nowadays, that in 2017, the representationalism is much better. Comics back then were very white. You see all this white. I mean, yeah, he's blue, but he was a white guy. All these people are white people, and Storm. And Forge is Native American. But they do a little better job of representationalism. I mean, not on this page, because you gotta remember, this is the original X-Men, and yeah, they were all white. In general, they do a better job of Marvel of this era. Sometimes they get a little crazy with it, and they'll put a book together or a team together, and it looks like they're going off of a checklist. It's like, okay, we have one of these, we have one of those, we have one of those, we need one of these, and we need two of those. So they do a better job representing minorities nowadays. So I think that's it. I think this is all I'm going to do for the X-Men comparison. Like I said before, I'm going to keep going with the current X-Men. I keep doing reviews, follow it, because I love the X-Men. This is maybe one of 2 books that I'm following currently. This series of X-Men launched the movie, which the movie X-Men launched this current golden age of comic book movies that we're in. So this is epic storytelling. This is great storytelling. This is great art. This is great character development. Could you see a movie being made about this group? I don't see it, I really don't see it. It just doesn't have the same feel. Like, if you were to take this to a movie producer, say, hey, I got this, I want to make a movie out of it. He would read it, he would say, this is great, this is deep, there's a lot of characters, there's a lot of character development. Whereas this, if you took this to a movie producer, said, hey, I want to make a movie about this, check it out, he would look at it and say, this might be good on ABC Family. So tell me what you think in the comments, what you like about both. If there's anything I missed, I try to respond to everybody's comments. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I will have something out real soon. Okay, bye.